For this week's video, I thought I would do a different format than my usual top 8 facts, and I thought I would do a type of Q&A. And do you hear that? Anyway, what I was saying is that today I wanted to be a bit more of a free flow program, because yesterday I posted on my Instagram story that I'd be doing a Q&A session type video today. So all the questions that I am going to be answering today came from you guys over on my Instagram. And if you're not watching this thinking that you have a question that you wanted to ask me, but you missed this exact Q&A session, then head over to my Instagram at Star.Wars.Oush to look out for my story for the next time I'm doing one of these Q&A sessions, and you can ask your questions there. But anyway, let's get stuck into today's questions.
How you doing, you old pirate? So good to see you.
One last thing I forgot to mention, I haven't actually looked at these questions yet because I wanted it to be free flowing and everything. So anyway, let's have a look at these questions and let's get started. What's your favorite battle that takes place in Star Wars? Good question. Good question. I always have like a romantic sort of nostalgic vibe to the Battle of Geonosis. So every time I'm playing on Star Wars Battlefront 2, like the Clone Wars era, I always love whenever you get it on Supremacy or co-op, whenever you get to go Geonosis. Just even what you get to see, like the first time you get to see the clones in their armor, that always sticks with me. So, well, anyway, the Battle of Geonosis. What color would your lightsaber be? Well, actually, the only lightsaber I own is right behind me here. It's the Luke Skywalker lightsaber that we see in Episode 4. So based on that, this is what I went for. I would say blue, because also thinking about what blue and green signify, or used to definitely as well. I would say blue. I'd say blue. I'd be like a guardian in the Jedi Order, something like that. Yeah, blue. Next question. Next question is, what's your favorite army in Star Wars? Again, it would be the clones, and going back to the Battle of Geonosis when you first see them. That moment really stuck in my memory. And yeah, so you can even see behind me again, I've got the Phase 1 clone trooper helmet, and I do mean to customize that at some point with a paint job. I'm probably going to go for the 212th because of the Battle of Geonosis, maybe the 501st, but anyway. So the answer is the clone army, yeah. Next question. I'm liking these. Good questions, guys. How did you get into Star Wars? Yeah, my friends ask me this too, actually, and it goes back to whenever I was growing up, whenever I was a lot smaller. I come from a family that sci-fi, it's a big theme, and Star Wars is one of the earliest ones that I remember watching Episode 4, 5, 6, and then whenever we get introduced to Anakin in Episode 1, I was like roughly the similar age as Anakin, so I was able to connect with Anakin growing up. Yeah. So just from the get-go, really, whenever you first see Luke using the lightsaber in Episode 4, I was a lot younger, and then growing up with Anakin, seeing him grow through Episode 2 and Episode 3, and how that ties in, and then of course with the modern era stuff as well, and it's a great franchise. So in a nutshell, my whole family loves sci-fi, and Star Wars is the one that I really enjoyed because being a Jedi, the lightsabers. Yeah. On Battlefront 2, what is your favorite game mode? Controversial, I know, especially everything that's going on right now in the Star Wars Battlefront 2 community. If you are in the community, you're aware that Galactic Assault has been moved into sort of the second stage of the menu. Not really whenever you land on it, the landing page, the main part of the menu. It's been moved. But actually, I never really got into Galactic Assault. I never really connected with it. But I really do love Supremacy. But then that love transferred into co-op. Right now, I really play a lot. The majority of my time is not on co-op. But having said that, actually last night I jumped on Supremacy for a bit. And yeah, it was fun. By no means was I finishing first, which, you know, yeah, I used to for a while. But yeah, no, it would be co-op these days. I love what they've done with it, especially with like the new reinforcements. So shout out to everybody who's playing Battlefront 2. Let me know in the comments section what you guys think is the best game mode currently. And if you're watching this now and you've never played Star Wars Battlefront 2, the modern one, or the old one, definitely get playing the old one. But the modern one has definitely improved so much from its release time, or release date, sorry, that yeah, I'd highly recommend getting over there and playing it. Pardon me. Next question. Who would win between Mace Windu and Luke Skywalker in a lightsaber fight? Tough one. That's a tough one. I guess it depends exactly which Luke Skywalker we're talking about here. If it would be Luke Skywalker from Legends or from what we see in the movies and what is canon. So I guess for this exact question and this video, I'm going to choose it to be what we see in the movies and what is Star Wars canon. So based on a lightsaber fight and their individual skills and talents with fighting, I would say Mace Windu would beat Luke Skywalker in a lightsaber fight due to the fact that Mace has been described by the likes of Yoda as being the best swordsman in the Jedi Order, and this is during the Jedi Prime. I mean, we see in the prequels, like the Jedi Council, the Jedi Order, how it functions. Also, the Clone Wars are there, so I mean, there's so many Jedi honing their skills, and Mace Windu is deemed as the best one there. He also makes Vader his own fighting style, which channels the dark and the light side into one form. Whereas Luke Skywalker does operate, or he is alive, so to speak, during the war of the rebellion against the Empire. But I would say that Mace Windu would have the upper hand in terms of fighting with a lightsaber. If it was for Force abilities, I would say then it might be a different story. But for this question, I would say Mace Windu. Next question: what is your favorite clone unit? My favorite clone unit would be the Clone Commandos. We first see them, or I first saw them in the Clone Commando game back for the original Xbox, and nowadays we can play as them in Star Wars Battlefront 2. So you really get to fall in love with these guys, and one of these commandos are meant to be worth anywhere, you know, in the region of 10 clone troopers themselves, and behind enemy lines they can cause real damage. So on the battlefront, and even in Star Wars canon and Legends, we see that the clone commandos can really pack a punch, and they can really look after themselves. Next question. Which Star Wars trilogy is your favorite? If you haven't been able to guess already based on my answers, it would be the prequel trilogy. And this is because we do get to see the Jedi at their peak. You know, they're fully functioning with a council, training Padawans, different varieties of species, different lightsaber types and colors. I feel like the most action is packed into the first three, or episode 1, 2, and 3. So therefore, I would say the prequel trilogy. And even just to rank them, it's not the question, but anyway, just to rank them for you to have an understanding of where I stand with it. It would be the prequel trilogy first, then the original trilogy, and then the sequel trilogy last. Next question. Who would win between the Empire and the First Order? I would say that the Empire would come out on top. I mean, if you look at even who's commanding the Empire, and the heroes or the villains, depending on how you see it, really. I would say because the Empire have a functioning, visible Palpatine, they have Darth Vader, they have they have a great reach and an armada and the power and the fear that's there. They also have the 2 Death Stars, Death Star 1 and 2. Whereas, I mean, the First Order do have Starkiller Base, which is maybe the bigger, better Death Star. They have Kylo Ren and Snoke, which is Palpatine, But I would say that the Empire, because Palpatine would beat Snoke. Well, it's Palpatine versus Palpatine, really. Except in the Empire, Palpatine, he is fully functioning, and in the First Order, he's definitely a shell of himself. So I would say Empire. Vader would destroy Kylo Ren. Tarkin would clearly beat Hux. So I would say the Empire wins that one. Next question. Do you prefer the design of a Y-Wing or an X-Wing? I would say the more iconic one for me was definitely the Y-Wing. I know Luke Skywalker flies the X-Wing. Poe Dameron is in the X-Wing. I really like the design of a Y-Wing. The fact that you've got your 2 engines behind you, you're in a cockpit. It's a 2-man. You've got the pilot and you've got the gunner. The old Star Wars Battlefront games really did justice to how fun a Y-Wing can be used. Flying around Cloud City on platforms. I just love the Y-Wing. Everything. Whenever I'm playing these days on Battlefront 2. I would always go for the Y-Wing. The X-Wing is fun too, don't get me wrong, but for me, the Y-Wing is the way forward. Next question. Would you be a Jedi or a Sith? That's a common question. That one came up a couple of times. So to answer all of the ones that came up, I would say I would be a Jedi. And because you really get to have a selection of lightsaber colors and robes, for me, I know that's a big thing. I love the idea of having a green lightsaber and a blue lightsaber, in a short space of time even. The ability to just customize, have a cool color lightsaber. And also the ideologies, of course. I mean, Jedi are about, patience, looking after others, learning, growing, whereas, the Sith would be, similar depending on your point of view, but it would be more about chaos instead of the order. But they would still be learning, but obviously different. But so I would be a Jedi. I'd be a Jedi.
I have the high ground.
Next question. Do you are you closer to R2-D2 or BB-8? I would have to say I'm closer to R2-D2. It's R2-D2. I mean, he's like a real main guy, main asset of the Star Wars franchise. BB-8 is within its own right coming along, doing really well. Again, with the latest update with the DICE Battlefront 2 game, you can play as BB-8 and BB-9E. But I mean, R2-D2 would be definitely my pick between the two of them because he's timeless. Him and C-3PO, they could have their own spin-off, which they nearly pretty much had at times during the Clone Wars animated TV show. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please hit that thumbs up button below, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and smash that little bell icon beside it to get notifications when more videos from myself are going online. So bearing in mind what I said earlier, if you do want to get involved next time and get your questions sent to me, be sure to head over to Instagram and look out for @Star.Wars.Oush to send your questions my way next time I'm doing a Q&A session. That's all from me. Take care and may the Force be with you.
Do what must be done. Do not hesitate. Show no mercy.